Well, a bombshell new book by former Secretary of Defense Robert Gates comes out next week. It's called Duty, Memoirs of a Secretary at War. While Gates is critical of both the Bush and Obama administrations, as far as we can tell from the excerpts, one of the big headlines is his opinion of President Obama's handling of the war in Afghanistan. He writes about a meeting in 2011 saying this, quote, "As I sat there, I thought the president doesn't trust his commander, can't stand Karzai, doesn't believe in his own strategy, and doesn't consider the war to be his. For him, it's all about getting out." Well, right now, it bears reminding that there are 52,000 American troops still in Afghanistan. 2,302 have been killed since the war began. Ambassador John Bolton is a former U.S. ambassador to the UN. And Ambassador, of course, we'll get to the politics of all of this, but I don't want to lose sight of our military and the impact of this book coming out right now when we still are very much at war in Afghanistan. What do you think is the impact there?
Well, I don't think what Secretary Gates says is very much different than what most of the people involved in the Afghanistan war already think of the president. I think the way he has mishandled it is something that's the view that he's mishandled it is very widespread in the military. I don't think the timing of the book should depend on the circumstances in the world. The world's never entirely at peace. The United States is never entirely at rest. I think when a former senior official writes a book like this, I think it's a positive thing whenever it comes out.
He also writes in 2009, this is Secretary Gates, that he came very close to resigning. And there were reports at the time, Ambassador, I'm sure you remember, of a lot of conflict about the way ahead in Afghanistan, what the military wanted, what the administration wanted. Do you think the course of our decisions in Afghanistan would have changed if Secretary Gates did in fact resign because he did not agree with what the administration was doing?
I don't think it would have, because of his Gates's fundamental insight. The president didn't think this was his war and wanted to get out. And, you know, I haven't read the book like everybody else commenting on it today, but from the excerpts we've seen, I think the real insight that Gates provides is that President Obama simply is not concerned with American national security. The notion that politics could trump a national security decision can only occur in the mind of somebody who simply doesn't pay much attention to national security. I think it's a serious charge against the president, but not that there was politics involved, but that national security rated so low in his mindset.
Well, and I am a military wife, right? If my husband was deployed to Afghanistan right now and I heard these headlines, I'd want all the troops to be brought home. If that's the case, if the president actually does not believe, and this is one of the top advisors, the top officials in our country during wartime, then bring them all home. I mean, the public's potential disillusionment, and maybe it's already there, Ambassador. I mean, that's a big conflict. How do you expect people to serve a mission, their families, if apparently the president doesn't believe in that mission, according to Robert Gates?
Well, as I say, I think that's what most of them probably think already. I think for people in the military, as for citizens generally, the issue is always what's in the national interest of the United States, and that's what they're there trying to fulfill that mission. And the fact is now the president will deny what Gates says, but I think his objective all along has been to find a way to get out of Afghanistan as he wanted to get out of Iraq. I think it exposes his hypocrisy, among other things. And for the military still there, I think they simply have to fulfill their duties as they have so well these past 12 years.
And as you mentioned, Ambassador, the administration obviously has come out and disagrees with the way that this is being portrayed. Robert Gates does touch on a bigger point, and I'd just like to finish with this, because he wasn't just speaking about President Obama, but about what we've seen in recent history, and here's what he has to say. In recent decades, presidents confronted with tough problems abroad have too often been too quick to reach for a gun. Our foreign and national security policy has become too militarized, the use of force too easy for presidents. What do you think about that?
No, I don't agree with that. I think that's a misreading of what happened. And of course, as Gates says in what's been reported, when he joined the Bush administration, and that's obviously what the criticism is aimed at, he also says all of the big national security decisions had been made, and he didn't participate in any of them. So I don't think he's in a position to judge, at least from his own experience, whether Bush reached too easily for the gun or not. But for those who are worried that Gates was critical of Obama, I think that's actually quite a harsh criticism of President Bush as well, and an unfair one.
And certainly one of Congress. Gates came out blazing against Congress, too. Certainly a lot more to this book. I'm sure we're going to be talking about it a lot more. Ambassador, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jenna.